By 2040, it's expected that 95% of vehicles will be electric. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and some of you may have noticed that yesterday was a fantastic day for the EV industry as a whole. Fisker was up nearly 9%. Lordstown Motors, after everything that's happened, up over 9%. Workhorse nearly 9%. Hyliion nearly 8%. The list goes on and on. It was a juicy day for EV. Not even to mention Tesla, who was up over 5% on the day. Considering how things have been as of late, that was a lovely, lovely day. Recently, Piper Sandler came out with a report all in regards to EV and their expectations, what's going to happen over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And that is exactly what I want to speak about today. I don't think it's a secret that on this channel, we love to speak about EV quite often. And around this time last year, even before that, EV really became this booming industry. A lot of investors got into EV. It was no longer just Tesla, but we were looking for the next Tesla, even though there is no next Tesla. The thing about excitement is that excitement does not last forever, and it should not be the reason to invest. And I think a lot of people have learned that lesson over the last 6 to 12 months, myself included to an extent. So that's what we're going to be speaking about today. We're going to be speaking about what Piper Sandler has to say about the future of EV, some really interesting thoughts here, and also just some other points in between, the occasional other article sprinkled in the mix. Really quickly, my friends, before we get into the video, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button? It really does help me out. It keeps me motivated to keep going. The support over the last few days after I took my break has been absolutely awesome, so I really do appreciate all of you big time. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know, how do you feel about EV right now? It was easy to be excited about EV a year ago. I think a lot of that excitement has fallen off, and a lot of people realize that they don't really care as much. And please, my friend, if you are indeed new around here, consider hitting that juicy red subscribe button and join the family. And one last thing before we do jump into the juicy information, if you're interested in joining my private Discord group, that is the first link in the description, and in there you will get access to all of my buy and sell alerts. We did just buy something new the other day. One thing to point out right off the bat before we even get into the article, the news flow trended positive today in the sector, with Piper Sandler noticeably forecasting an EV penetration rate of 45% of new car sales by 2030. That's not a far away period of time at all. And 94% by 2040. Essentially all new vehicles. Lucid Motors CEO was recently interviewed, and he said there's no such thing really as a market for electric cars. There's a market for cars. Now, however you feel about Lucid Motors, I think as an electric vehicle investor, this is something that you should realize. The expectation is that one day every single new vehicle that is on the roads, maybe in 20 years time, 25, 30 years, whatever it is, will be an electric vehicle. And that is the driving reason why a lot of us do believe that now is a good time to invest in these EV companies. Some of them won't be around then. It's that simple, okay? But the ones who are, you will make an absolute fortune off investing today if they're still around in 15, 20 years. Something I have done in the past, I personally believe too much, is focus on the electric vehicle market as opposed to the vehicle market, and then focus on EV penetration. To view them as two different markets is very short-minded in my opinion, because ultimately they will turn into one. But right off the bat, some bold claims. 45% EV penetration by 2030. More so than that, by 2025, we expect BEV penetration of 18%. And by 2035, 75%. That equates to 18 million units in 2025. In 2020, there was about 3.1 million units sold. So you don't have to be very good at maths to realize that it's expected to go extraordinarily quickly, at least by the guys over at Piper Sandler, or at least by Alexander Potter. They go on to say that China and Europe should lead the transition, with BEVs representing 1/4 of sales in 2025. Now, that's a very interesting point. We'll speak briefly about NIO in particular later on, and the numbers that they expect NIO, the market share they expect NIO to have in particular. We will speak about a few other companies as well. But a lot of people initially always think about the United States. But the truth is, when it comes to EV, you do have to look towards China and Europe as well. And that's why I like having a bit of exposure in my portfolio personally to NIO. And then ChargePoint, for example, has some really good things going on in Europe. We have a nice little mix in there. They go on to say consumers must adapt. Many brands are ceasing work on internal combustion vehicles. And I mean, this is a reality. This is not some fictional world. This is not something that we are hoping for. Governor Newsom announces California will phase out gasoline-powered cars and drastically reduce demand for fossil fuel in California's fight against climate change. We've been speaking about this for years. Not years, but you get the picture. In California, for example, an executive order was recently issued requiring sales of all new passenger vehicles to be zero emission by 2035. And most people, myself included in there, expect similar things to happen across way more states, and not just states, countries all around the world, Europe, China, etc. Especially when you look at how many people are in China, the congestion issues they have over there, the environmental issues they have over there. yes, there is a lot of incentive for the government to take action. We expect Tesla and newly formed BEV specialists to win share in the coming years. Now, that's an interesting and bold claim. And there is a constant argument in the world of investing as to why would any new BEV companies win over the likes of Toyota, Hyundai, Volkswagen, all of the big boys, when they are clearly going to transition. They already are transitioning. They speak about that later on, but they do say among incumbents, we think Volkswagen, GM, and Hyundai are best positioned. I think it's important to understand as well, when we're reading through the rest of this, they say that Tesla is still the best way to invest in electric vehicles. I don't think many people will argue. Worth noting, they do have a $1,200 price target on the company. Now, to get into some more of the numbers, projecting light vehicle sales and market share by brand. So here we see light vehicle sales, all drivetrains, and global market share of all drivetrains. Right now, you'll see Volkswagen, Toyota, Renault, Nissan, General Motors, all of the big names at the top where you expect them to be. Fast forward to even 2025, you'll see they have Tesla up there with nearly 5% market share. As of right now, sitting just above 0.5% market share. Fast forward to 2030, nearly 9.5%. But they don't just stop at Tesla. You will see NIO in there by 2025, 0.5% market share. That may not sound like a lot, but for NIO, as of right now, it is. Funnily enough, I think some people may dispute this one and argue that it could potentially be higher, all things considered. Same goes for Li Auto and XPeng. I'm not going to get too into that. But you will see that in general, the author thinks Volkswagen, Toyota, Renault, General Motors are all going to keep fairly similar market shares. But you will see the likes of Ford, Honda, he sees them losing some market share over the next decade or two. And what I really think about this chart is that what happens over the next 2 to 3 years will greatly determine what is actually going to happen. It will determine if these things are going to change drastically or if it's going to be relatively accurate. Because if the likes of Tesla or any other electric vehicle maker in reality comes out and keeps continuing at the rate they are, keeps having the best technology, keeps being able to beat all of their peers, their numbers could drastically shoot up because, again, it's inevitable. Somebody has to win. And then projecting the sales of battery electric vehicles by brand. If you look at some of the bigger guys, you'll see right now, Volkswagen, for example, is at about 2.6%, up from 0.2% 2017. They expect by 2025 that to be all the way up to 15%. You'll see similar numbers for a lot of the, legacy OEMs right now. Tesla obviously at 100%. The same for all of these other EV manufacturers. But where things get really interesting is when you get to 2035 and 2040 and you see 80 to 100% even for legacy OEMs as of this moment of time. General Motors, completely electric by 2035 is the estimation. But the numbers do really speak for themselves. And again, I want to bring you back to that quote from the Lucid Motors CEO because I really do think this is an important one to remember. There's no such thing really as a market for electric cars. There's a market for cars. And whatever happens with this graph, whatever does happen over the next 10 to 20 years, this should be a clear indication that the expectation, and it's not even an expectation, it is factually correct, legacy OEMs as well are going EV. It's going to turn into an electric vehicle market, not just a vehicle market. But I think it's a very interesting read, and there is a much bigger read than this as well if you really want to go in depth. It's just their 5-page version. But this is bringing a little bit of excitement back into the world of EV, from what I can see online at least. I think it has definitely contributed to some of those moves that we did see yesterday. I'm recording this a few hours before the market goes open, and you'll see that pre-market Tesla's up 2.7%. Workhorse is up 2% as well. Lordstown's up 1%. NIO is up as well. Basically, everything's still doing nice. And keep in mind, this has been a very beaten up industry. Even NIO, who keep in mind is one of the bigger names, is down still quite considerably from their all-time highs. But I'm interested, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that this author could be relatively accurate, or do you think this is absolute insanity? Personally, I'm of the opinion that it's very difficult to make such accurate predictions such as this, but I do agree with a lot of what they have to say. And to an extent, a lot of the percentages that they are putting forward. Similar percentages have been shared in the past. You can find it a quick Google search for the expected electric vehicle market in 2025, 2030. Numbers obviously will differ, but a lot of work has been put into this report in particular. But anyway, my friends, that is it for today's video. If you have watched all the way till the end, you are a true legend, and I really do appreciate you being here from the bottom of my heart. Your support genuinely does mean an awful lot to me. I know times have been tough for a lot of people as of late, myself included. The market, lockdowns, the way the world is right now. Genuinely, my friends, if you watch till the end, I hope you are doing okay. I hope you're having a good day. Hopefully this was able to bring you a bit of joy as well. If you enjoyed the video, maybe took some value or insight, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button? Maybe drop me that comment down below. And please, my friends, subscribe if you're new around here. And again, if you are interested in that private Discord group, awesome community of guys in there. First link in the description. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a beautiful, blessed day. I'll see you for another video very soon. Peace.